Welcome to Faith Focus, where we dive deep into the rich tapestry of Catholic history. I'm Daniela Beasant, the proud bellringer of St. Louis Church, Canada's oldest parish, and it's a special place, not just for its age, but for its pivotal role in our nation's spiritual journey. Tonight we begin a new series, A Bedtime Story for the Soul, where we explore the earliest days of Catholicism in Canada. Our journey starts in the 1600s, when faith first took root on these shores through the courageous efforts of missionaries who dared to bring the light of Christ to a new and unknown world. This series is inspired by the book The Oldest Parish in Canada, written by Ambroise Comeau as the Second Vatican Council was just about to commence. A fitting backdrop for a story that stretches back centuries, yet still resonates today. My dream as the bellringer of this historic parish is to one day complete this tale, bringing it forward to the modern era and to share the ongoing story of our parish community. As we journey through this episode, you'll also see photographs of taken at these historic sites in and around Annapolis Royal, Nova Scotia. These places, rich with history, still stand today and are open for you to visit. If you ever find yourself in this beautiful corner of Canada, please get in touch. I'd be delighted to sit with you at Masse and share the stories of our incredible past. So settle in and let the world fade away and join me as we step back in time. Chapter 1: The First Missionaries. The year was 1604. The first settlers had just arrived on these virgin shores. Amidst the wild and untamed beauty of what would become Canada, these brave souls brought with them not just hopes of a new life, but the deep-rooted faith of their homeland. Leading them spiritually was Samuel de Champlain, who in 1605, alongside de Monts, brought two chaplains from France, one Catholic, the other Huguenot. Among these brave men was Father Nicholas Aubry, who was dedicated to guiding the settlers in prayer and devotion. Imagine the scene: the harsh winter, the rugged landscape, and the daunting task of establishing not just homes, but hearts rooted in faith. These early missionaries were not merely spiritual guides, they were beacons of hope amidst the wilderness. They said their first Mass at the very site where their new home, the habitation, would stand. A new chapter of faith was being written, and Father Aubry was at the heart of it, ministering to the spiritual needs of Champlain and his men. The colony was small. Soldiers, sailors, and skilled laborers all united in a daunting task. But with them, they had something invaluable: faith. Men of courage like Champlain, Poutrincourt, Lescarbot worked tirelessly alongside their priest. They sought not only to survive, but to bring the message of Christ to the Mi'kmaq people, hoping they might one day become children of God. At the church, where the community would soon gather, a plaque in bronze would later commemorate a moment that would mark the beginning of something profound. It was the baptism of Chief Membertou in 1610, the first recorded Catholic baptism in Canada. This sacrament, performed by Father Jesse Flesch, was a pivotal event, a symbol of the new faith taking root in this distant land. These early missionaries faced unimaginable challenges. The language barrier alone was a monumental task. How could they convey the mysteries of faith, the depth of Christ's love, when they could not even find words in the native tongue to express basic spiritual concepts? How do you translate grace, faith, or even the simple phrase, "I believe"? Yet these priests persevered, relying on gestures, shared moments, and the universal language of compassion to bridge the divide. Then came the Jesuits. In 1611, Father Biard and Father Masse left the comforts of France, arriving in the spring of 1611 at Port Royal. Their voyage was fraught with danger. Their ship, Grace de Dieu, was barely seaworthy, their journey marked by storms and suffering. Yet they pressed on, undeterred by hardships. They fasted when there was no food, prayed when there was no hope, and endured incredible privations, all for the glory of God and the salvation of souls. It is said that the first thing they did when they disembarked was host Mass right there on the shores. Despite their efforts, Father Biard and Father Masse did not stay long in Port Royal. In 1612, they were summoned by France to leave and work with the indigenous people at Saint Sauveur, now known as Frenchman's Bay in Maine. On March 12, 1613, they bade farewell to their friends and companions at Port Royal, departing with heavy hearts and little to show for their efforts. However, they had mastered much of the native language, which prepared them for their mission ahead. Fortunately, the mission at Saint Sauveur was short-lived. In a tragic turn of events, Captain Argall raided the small colony in a surprise attack, dispersing the settlers and taking many, including the Jesuits, prisoner. Father Masse managed to escape and eventually returned to France, only to make his way back to Canada years later. He continued his ministry and died in Quebec on May 12, 1646. His dedication was honored with a monument at Sillery, where he was laid to rest. Father Biard, after enduring imprisonment and hardship, returned to France a few years later, where he eventually died back in his homeland. As you lay here tonight listening to this story, remember that these were not just men of faith. They were pioneers in every sense of the word. They faced uncertainty and danger, yet they never wavered. Their story is our story, woven into the very fabric of Canada's Catholic heritage. As the proud bellringer of St. Louis Church, it fills me with joy to recount these stories, to know that the very bells I ring today are echoes of a faith that has endured for centuries. This is just the beginning of our journey together. We'll continue to explore the lives, trials, and triumphs of those who came before us, who laid the foundations of faith in this vast and beautiful land. And remember, these historic sites are not just stories. They are places you can visit, walk through, and experience for yourself. If you ever wish to see the places where this incredible journey began, please reach out. I would be honored to sit with you at Mass and share these sacred spaces. So rest now, dear listener. Let these stories of courage and faith inspire you, just as they have inspired generations before. Good night, and may God bless you.